Guys, welcome to Baku, welcome to Azerbaijan. If you guys are coming here, if you're planning on coming here, if you've never even heard of Azerbaijan, you're going to want to watch these next video series that I've made for you guys. Where we're going to be exploring not just Baku, but the rest of the country as well. So I'm so excited to share this with you guys, and I've been here a few days and I'm absolutely obsessed with this country. So without further ado, let's get into it. Azerbaijan'da hoş geldiniz. You can hear me, there's a lot of traffic, but anyway. And just trying to figure out the right words to describe it. It's just very aesthetic. Let's have a better look. Like, I just come out of like a subway stop kind of thing, and it's just so aesthetic, and the vibe is all the same, the colours are all the same, but it's so beautiful. Again, you've got the flame towers in the background. So what we're trying to do hopefully is just walk to the pier area. There's a nice big flag over there as well. Walking, and I found this park, beautiful park. And you can see in the back actually there's still remnants of the Formula 1 Grand Prix that they've just had recently. So they're still clearing that up, and I think behind is the Four Seasons Hotel. Really nice atmosphere here. This is the pier of the Caspian Sea, because obviously Baku lies within the Caspian Sea, so it's not actually the ocean, and in fact it's not actually a sea, it's a lake, but nevertheless. I think this will probably be definitely an amazing spot for sunset as well. Probably will end up coming back here tonight. I mean, I'll have a look. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful view. It's like a Sydney Opera House there as well. We are now at the famous Carpet Museum. How do we know it's a carpet museum? Because it's shaped like a carpet. I've been walking around for about 3 hours now, and just in terms of first impressions then, it's very similar to Istanbul, kind of like the old city, you know, and Istanbul's my favourite city, so I'm not complaining about that. Same like with Turkey, it's a Muslim country, but it's just as liberal, I would say. You see very few people wearing a hijab. You know, young people like to go out. It's kind of a very social society, so very similar to Turkey, like in that sense. And I suppose the only other way to describe it is it's very aesthetic. Like, you've got this old city which makes up a lot of the city, and it's you know, it's got narrow streets but modern cars that are going down these streets, and you know, everything, all the buildings are made out of kind of sandstone, and they look really old, as if they were just to be a museum. But you know, you've got people living there, you've got people thriving there. So it's a really amazing thing to see. It's a very different atmosphere to other places in the world. I've been walking around for about 3 hours now. I haven't really done anything. I've just kind of walked around all the main sites around the old city. So I suppose it's time to give you guys my first impressions of the city. I get kind of the same vibe of the old city in Istanbul. You know, all the buildings are made out of sandstone, like kind of what you see behind me. And the old city is kind of also surrounded by these old castle walls. So it's beautiful to see, and then all the houses as well just kind of match that same tone. And you'd expect it to be some kind of like open air museum, and it is. But there's also people living there, there's people thriving there. So it's a really, really interesting mix, because you've got all these modern skyscrapers and architecture in the city, but you've also got the old side. So it's a complete contrast. Same thing with just Azerbaijan as a whole. It's very similar to Turkey in the sense that, yes, it is a Muslim country, but it's very liberal. You know, there's a very social atmosphere, particularly amongst the young people. They like to go out, they like to have fun, they like to hang out. So it's quite a nice laid-back atmosphere as well. So far, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great place. So I found out that this boat sail-looking building, similar to the Sydney Opera House, is actually a mall. So we're going to go inside that, and then after that, hopefully get some dinner, and then we'll be back to the Crescent Pier to be able to watch the sunset and hopefully have a nice view of the buildings. Another thing to say is I think Baku is the only other place in the world that uses London taxis. They're not necessarily black. I think from the airport, the one that picked me up was red, but they do use London taxis. So it was quite a weird experience being in a London taxi thinking I'm going to be charged £100. It was still expensive, I have to say. I think he did overcharge me. I was just so tired from the flight that I just couldn't be bothered to argue. However, it's obviously not as expensive as London, but they do use London cabs, which I found was really interesting.